Now you are able to see the board, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now you see, so we have discussed, of course, so many things. So now we are almost coming to the last one, that is the finite volume. Okay. So there are so many other computational methods are there, but they are more or less, if you say Eigel's books say, there is one more discontinuous Galerkin and other approaches are there, which is a combination of finite volume and finite, the element kind of a thing. But they are at, more or less at, the initial stages. Then there are meshless methods are there, fractal finite elements are there. So many computational things are there. Okay. But anyway, all of them are same. So only if you know the fundamental things, that is more or less, the sufficient. Okay. So we started finite volume in our last class. Okay. So here, any of you remember what is the starting point? Which equation you will use here? Now, what is that you have to do in finite volume? What's the starting point?
Advection equations.
No, advection. But what is advection? Mathematical word is advection. Okay, this is a mathematical term actually. But what is advection in physics? Like, what does it indicates in our engineering?
Absorption, sir.
No. Advection equation, what is the link in what do you call in our engineering, in our mechanics? This advection. Advection is a mathematical word. Okay, advection equation.
So conservation.
Conservation equation. Yes. Okay. So essentially, this is a conservation equation only. So because all our conservative equations in mechanics also, anyway, mathematical word is advection. Okay. So the finite volume say, so now it doesn't solve, the directly wave equation. We wrote like previously dou square u by dou x square, that way that equation cannot be solved by finite volume. So finite volume fundamentally, you have to express whatever you want to solve in a like a conservative equation or this type of format. So all conservation laws say, okay, more or less advection. So you can represent, you see, in this format in one dimension. Okay. So dou t plus some a, so dou q say x comma t by using dou x is equal to 0. So this is in one dimension. So okay, so this is the conservative equation in one dimension. So you can see it is a first order equation in time, then the first order equation you see in space itself. Okay, so this is how the conservation equation. So this is the main the starting point in our you see the finite volume method. So now in our finite volume method say, so what do we do? So if you have any a region, let us say this is my domain. Okay, so what we do is you followed it here also, you divide this into like finite elements. Here we divide this into finite volumes actually. Okay, so we divide this into several volumes kind of a thing, and then we assume that so whatever things are happening inside this one, so it depends on, you see, how much flow is coming inside and how much flow is going outside. It is essentially a conservation of mass kind of a thing. Okay, so the mathematical word, what do you call this one? So how much is coming inside, how much is coming outside, say. So what is the mathematical term here? At the boundary. So at the boundaries, what do we have? What is that word we call? What is it?
Flux.
Flux actual. Okay, so flux also is nothing. This is a mathematical term, advection, flux. So flux is essentially how much coming inside. It may be mass or whatever, these things happens. Okay, so and then all the quantities, we replace them with their integrals. So so q x comma t dx. So 1 by, you see, dx. So we, instead of writing in terms of small q, so we write in terms of capital Q, which are nothing but the averages actually. So in each volume, say, so q is varying in inside this volume, so we just take average of it actually. Okay, so we have only so q I and n. So this stands for space, and then this stands for the time increment actual. Okay, so this is how the finite different volume method then starts. And finally, like last class we have done, so finally, if you do all those, how much is coming, how much, so all the derivatives are replaced with these type of averages kind of a thing. So finally what happens is, so in time domain, say if you say qi n plus 1, so at any cell, say the future value, okay, is a function of, is the past, and then you have a dt by using dx. So we have qi minus 1, the previous cell, and then you see the next cell actually. So this is how we get these things you can calculate in a finite volume. So we have already said that this is a upwind method, like same as our finite difference methods, whatever we did previously. You can go for higher order also. So here they call this as Lax Van Drop the scheme. So just you go the higher order schemes. Okay, so scheme. So this also we wrote in our last class, just by expanding in terms of Taylor series, and then replace time integrals with the space integrals, say, so time derivatives with spatial derivatives you can obtain. So same qi n plus 1 say is so qi n minus so a dt by 2 times dx. So we have qn. So we had I plus 1 minus qn I minus 1. So plus we have this higher order terms also. So a dt by dx say, okay, whole square. So we have this central difference. So I minus 1 minus 2 q I n, okay. So plus qn you see I plus 1. So this is how you see the scheme comes. So second order you can go for, even third order, higher order things also you can do. Okay. So this is how it comes. So this first order scheme. So generally in our finite volume they also call this as upwind scheme. Okay. So whereas this is a Lax Van Drop scheme. So the names are slightly different, but principle is altogether you see same. So now here the most important thing what we said was the stability of our finite volume method say. So it is controlled by which quantity? The stability. Which one controls stability? See, how do you ensure that scheme is stable? So we said in our last class, right? No. So a dt by dx, this is the one. So you can see everywhere here also, even the second order scheme also. So this one. So what you want essentially, so this a dt by dx say, if you want the scheme to be stable, so it should be always less than 1 itself. Okay. So that your things will not you see increase in divergence will not come. So everything will be converging kind of a thing itself. Okay. So this is the most important thing. So finite volume, when you compare with the finite elements, spectral elements and others, very very simple and very very straightforward kind of a thing. Okay. In finite elements we have to worry about you see what type of element, then shape functions, collocation scheme, GLL, all kinds of things will be there. But finite volume is very very straightforward. Okay. It's very very simple also. Now here another thing also we told was these boundary conditions. They are very easy to represent. Okay, the boundary conditions essentially you see if you have are absorbing boundary conditions say. Okay, so they are very easy to implement in finite volume. So here also like our PML layers, we add some fictitious the layer this side and this side. So and then so suppose this is nx minus 1 and this is nx say. Okay, and let us say this is 1 and this is 2. Okay, so these are our finite volumes. Okay, so now if it is absorbing boundary conditions, so you can write as nxn as same as you see nx minus 1. Okay, so which means the same thing is flowing into the other cell also. So which you followed it gives you the absorbing boundary conditions. So you can even give periodic boundary conditions or other boundary conditions. They are very very easy to implement here also. So there are, so this is some advantages you see with this the finite volume method itself. So now let us go back to our wave equations. So this is what we were interested, that is our continuum mechanics the equations. How do we solve by finite volume method? So this is what we are interested. So now the problem here is last class also we have said, so the dou square u by displacement formulation say I can't use in finite volume method, because finite volume method the main problem is whatever you want to solve say everything should be expressed in this type of a format. So if you can express, then only things will work in finite volume. So now these are first order equations in time and then in space. So now which formulation will give you finite volume? Displacement formulation we have discussed, right? Velocity stress, then displacement velocity stress, displacement stress formulation, all those things we discussed in finite difference. So if you want to solve by finite volume, say which thing you have to use? No. So the criteria is your equation should be first order in time, first order in space. So which formulation will help you? No. Velocity stress formulation you have to see. Okay. So now let us see one dimensions. Okay, just 1D problem if you see, say. Okay, so you have, so dou sigma by, say, dou t is minus mu. Okay, shear modulus. So dou v by dou x, where v is the velocity. Okay, is equal to 0, and then dou v, say, by dou t minus 1 by rho. So dou v by, sorry, dou sigma by dou x. Now dou x is equal to 0. So this is our formulation. So now these equations say, yes, okay, you can write it in terms of advection equations. So we can combine everything in one go. Okay, so we can write as, some q by, you see, dou t plus a. So dou q by dou x is equal to 0, where q is, you can write it in a matrix, sigma v, you combine them, say, transpose of this one, and the matrix A, say, okay, is 0 minus mu, then minus 1 by rho, and then 0. So you can combine this into a matrix, vector, notation, we say. Okay, so this is a matrix vector notation, we say. So we can combine both of them in one go. Now here there is one problem here. See, suppose this equation is also looks like an advection equation. This also is something like advection only. But here if you see these two equations, say, both of them are, if you see, they are not like independent equations. This equation contains stress. This equation contains velocity also. Both you can see here they are basically, coupled. So you don't have a separate equation for sigma, separate equation for velocity, say. So scalar kind of a thing you don't have. They are basically, you see, coupled, the ODEs. So to solve this in finite volume method, say, you have a problem, because for finite volume method, so this should be, a scalar kind of a thing actually. Okay, then only you can do the averages, and it will be little bit advantageous. But here this A matrix is not a diagonal matrix. It is basically, off diagonal matrix. So here you have this coupling comes into picture here. Now, how do we uncouple these equations? So now, so before going to finite volume, say, so first of all, you have to, uncouple these equations. How do we uncouple any equations? How do I uncouple them? So these two are coupled equations. I have to do uncoupling actually. Okay, one separate equation for this, separate equation for this. What is that you have to do? What do you do in mathematics? If you want to uncouple equations, even in our structural dynamics also, like 2 degree of freedom system is there, so they are all coupled, because of stiffness or mass, some coupling will be there. So what do you do to uncouple these equations?
We'll obtain model matrix.
Yeah, modal matrix, that is fine, but what do you do? How do you get that modal matrix? What is that you have to do?
Eigenvalues and eigenvectors.
Eigenvalue, eigenvector you have to do. So you have to go to eigen coordinate system, then they will be uncoupled. But here eigenvalue, eigenvector, you have to find out for which matrix in the present case. Now you have to obtain eigenvalue, eigenvectors for what? See this here, what is the matrix? Which is the one which is coupling both of them? So if you see this equation, where is coupling coming into picture? They are coupled through which matrix? A. You followed, right? So now, so you have to find out eigenvalue, eigenvector of A matrix. Okay. So then you can uncouple these equations. So now so you all of how to find out eigenvalue, eigenvector. So you have to write, right, lambda p x p. So p you followed, right? So suppose if A is some matrix, say m by m matrix, so this is how you find out our eigenvalues. So anyway, here the matrix is 2 by 2 kind of a thing itself. So finally, so we define a matrix like this. So this lambdas, a diagonal matrix. Okay. lambda 2 like this you followed, right? So you have this diagonal matrix, okay, the lambda. So now and then we have a matrix R which defines all the eigenvectors. So let us say these are all the eigenvectors, say, okay, same as in dynamics modal matrix, we use in here, which is a collection of all the eigenvectors. And here it will be natural frequencies there. So now our matrix A, say, we can write, R, this diagonal matrix R inverse, okay, or this is how they are related, the eigen matrix and the original matrix. So R inverse into A times R, say. So this becomes diagonal kind of a thing. So now using these definitions, we substitute in our equation. So this is my A, okay. So I will substitute in this equation, say. So this A, and then I will multiply on both the sides, okay, with R inverse, okay. So now so I will write my the equation, multiply that basic equation, say, okay, that equation by R inverse, okay. So we write expression as R inverse dou Q by dou T plus R inverse. Now instead of A I will substitute R this expression, R inverse, this is my A matrix, and then I have this dou Q by dou X is equal to 0. Now if I introduce a new vector, say R inverse into Q, okay. So if I introduce this new term itself, so I can write this expression as dou W by dou T plus so this matrix this one, so dou W by dou X is equal to 0, okay. So one can write nicely, in this format, because R inverse into R, this becomes identity. So R inverse into Q becomes a W. So we have this matrix. Now this is basically a pure a diagonal matrix, okay. So this is our it is a diagonal matrix. Okay, so this way we uncouple the basic equations. So the original equations were in terms of Q, they were coupled. So now we have defined a new eigen coordinate system W, where the equations are uncoupled kind of a thing. Now for this problem, if you find out the eigenvalues, the eigenvalues will be nothing but plus or minus root of mu by rho, which is nothing but the velocities, okay. These are the eigenvalues of our A matrix. You can easily calculate. It is just a 2 by 2 matrix, and eigenvectors, say, for our problem, this is the first matrix, rho C1, then R2, say, this is minus rho times C1. So these are the eigenvectors for our A matrix, okay. So the matrix what we wrote just now. So this is my A matrix. So A matrix we wrote, right, 0 minus mu minus 1 by rho mu. So for this, these are the eigenvalues and these are the eigenvectors, okay. Now here one very interesting thing is there. What is rho into C? What does it indicates? Rho is density, okay, and C is velocity, shear wave velocity or whatever. What do you get when you multiply density with velocity? What is the term known as in engineering? It's a famous term. Any of you remember? See, what is the density into velocity? Okay, one very famous term, this one. What do you call that one? See, in seismology, not on seismology, in soil mechanics, soil amplifications and others, this is a very, very important. Rho into C, density multiplied by shear wave velocity. What do you call this one? Any of you remember? No, none of you remember this term. This is known as impedance. You followed. So this is a very, very the important thing. Generally, when you are having two materials, say, so let us say above material has rho 1 C1, below material has rho 2 C2. Let us say this is some material, steel, or this is something else, okay, aluminium or whatever. So their metal properties are different. So now when wave goes in this direction, say, okay, whether it will amplify or de-amplify, that depends on this ratio of the impedances. So you can find out rho 2 C2 by rho 1 C1 kind of a thing. So if rho 2 C2 is very high, say, so then if the material, the waves are going from rigid, say, very strong to a flexible system. Okay, so which means rho 2 C2 will be very high because it's a rigid system. Velocities will be very high, density will be very high, and is a flexible system, say. So what happens is the amplification, say, it depends on this impedance contrast, actually the ratios. So whenever waves goes here this way, so they get amplified. Okay, suppose here the wave is going as some x, say, it becomes 2x here. Now similarly, if the wave is coming from weak material to strong materials, then impedance contrast will be this one. Okay, so then automatically it gets de-amplified or something like that. So generally, so this impedance is a very powerful thing which controls, you see, amplifications. So when waves are passing from one material to another material, say, whether it amplifies or whether it de-amplifies, so that depends on the ratio of the impedances, that is impedance contrast. Okay, so please remember, this is a very technical term which is a very fundamental thing. So if somebody asks whether it will amplify or de-amplify, so it depends on this quantity impedance ratio or impedance contrast. Okay, that is nothing but ratio of this one. So rho into C, say, so this indicates the impedances. So this is a very interesting thing which comes in finite volume method. Okay, so our eigenvectors. Okay, so the modal matrix. So if you dump all those things, so if I indicate this rho into C, that is impedance with some Z. Okay, this is a this is also a symbol which is widely used in our engineering, this earthquake engineering. Z stands for the impedance contrast. So these are my modal matrix minus z 1. So you can see the eigenvectors are rho c1 and then minus c rho. So if I combine both of them into a matrix kind of thing, say, okay, so this is my this one and R inverse. Okay, so this is you see 1 by 2 times z. So you have 1 z minus 1 z. So this is my our matrices. Okay, so these are very important things. So the eigenvalues are nothing but the velocity itself, and eigenvectors are linked to impedance contrast itself. Okay, so this way we can decouple both the equations. So now this equation looks like so dou t, so you can write as w1 w2, okay, plus our this matrix is minus c 0 0 c. Okay, so dou by dou x. Okay, and we have w1 w2. So these are all uncoupled the equations. So we have a separate equation for W, then a separate equation for W1 and then W2. So the solution for this equations is it's very straightforward. So you can solve by knowing the initial conditions, because there on the right hand side it is 0. Okay, so the solution will be simply x plus r minus ct. So where this indicates the initial conditions. Okay, so W1 W2, and if you want to write W1, say the expressions, so W is already we have seen. So W and Z, these are linked through this expression. So R inverse into Q, and Q contains sigma and V. Okay, the velocity. So the solution generally if you write in terms of this one, so W1 x comma t, say. So this depends on 1 by 2z, because it is R inverse into Q is W. Okay, so 1 by 2z R inverse so this is our expression for R inverse we know, and Q is sigma and V. So if you want to write, you can also write. So sigma, the initial the stress, x plus ct, say, plus z, initial velocity. Okay, x plus ct. Okay, then a W2 x comma t, say. This will be 1 by 2 times z. So minus sigma x minus ct plus z into v naught. These are the initial velocity or initial stress. So these are W1s and W2, and finally you can write Q also, so which is R times W. Okay, this also we can find out. So if you write sigma x comma t, so this becomes 1 by 2. So sigma 0 x plus ct then plus sigma 0 x minus ct, okay, plus you have a component from velocity also, so z by 2 x plus ct minus x minus ct. So this is our sigma, and similarly you can write for v also. So sigma of 0 x plus ct, so minus sigma of 0 x minus ct plus half v of 0 x plus ct plus v of 0 x minus ct. Okay, so this is how we write our solutions actually, okay, in finite volume. So that is by decoupling this equation, so you can write like this, or if you want to write it in a compact format, say in terms of q, 1 to m, but here it is 1 to 2, so we have wp x comma t and the eigenvectors. So these are nothing but the eigenvectors. So if you want to combine, if you want to write it in a compact format, these two equations, so we can also write in this format itself, okay. So of course, so two eigenvalues means you have to have a summation, you see p is equal to 1 to 2. So this way you can derive our conservation equations, say for our the wave propagation also, okay. So now here the most important thing here is how do we express this forces actually, okay. So now this is all free vibration problem, because conservation equation there is nothing like that. See what is coming inside, how much is going out, so you have a conservative equation. So now to represent forces, and then so how do we represent forces generally? Suppose these are inside the material, okay. So now if I want to represent forces, how do we represent forces? See what is the condition here? See how do we represent forces in finite volume? Our right hand side is 0, okay, because these are all conservation equations. So if you want to represent a force or anything, say how to represent here? What is the idea here? How do we represent? See what happens when there is a force inside this medium, say how do we represent? Now, how do we represent a force here when you are solving a conservative equations, say, okay? So how do we represent?
Change in the response of the body.
Change in the?
So response.
What response here? You are having two variables. One is a stress, another one is velocity, okay? Now, how do we represent a force? Generally, how do we represent forces? So forces are generally represented if you are having any material, say, okay. So if there is any force is acting inside a material, so we represent in terms of the discontinuities. You remember? So generally you follow, right? So if this is my two cells are there, say, okay, one cell is this side, another cell is this side. So what do we do is we represent the forces in terms of a discontinuity, generally stress discontinuity or displacement discontinuity. So this is how we represent our forces. So QL kind of a thing. So we define, so delta Q say is QL minus, you see, QR or Q1 minus QR or whatever is it, we denote. So to represent the forces, we represent in terms of, you see, the discontinuities. Okay. So generally force means stress discontinuity. So what we do is between, so if you are having a beam, say, okay, so there are several cells are there, okay. So let us say you have applied load here. Now how do we represent load in our finite volume? How do we solve? What do we do? So now in this cell, what is that you have to do? So when you define this, the elements or whatever, like this, okay. So these are my finite volumes here. So wherever there is a load, so what happens at this boundary? See what happens at this boundary. How do we represent in finite volume? So you have all the the volumes. This cell is there. Now on this boundary or on this cell, you have a load here actual. Okay. So this load is basically what happens when there is a load in this cell. So you have to represent in terms of a discontinuity. Okay. So now in this cell, say, so you assume that there is a discontinuity, sudden discontinuity which is happening here. So there is a change in your Qs. It may be a force means stress discontinuity we can take, or sometimes if there is a crack or something like that, say you can have even a displacement or velocity discontinuities also. So whatever loads are there, you have to represent in terms of some discontinuities in our finite volumes. Okay, so these how we represent this one, and generally in finite volumes, say. So this problem, that is a problem with discontinuities. Okay, so generally is known as Riemann problem also. Okay, so it is a mathematical, the mathematicians, they call this as a Riemann problem, which means you see there is a discontinuity in the medium. Now in finite elements or spectral elements, say, so there the methodology was everything was continuous. There is no discontinuity in the medium, but you have a force actually which comes on the right hand side or something like that. But now in finite volume, say, the forces doesn't enter on your right hand side or something like that. The forces basically you followed, right? They enter through these type of the discontinuities. So you can represent through the discontinuities, and then you can solve the problem itself. And finite volumes generally like a force you can represent as a this type of discontinuity. So suppose if you are having a tsunami, say, okay, tsunami waves or something. So you have a water is here, okay. When for tsunami, what will be the input for tsunami, for water waves? What should be happen? See, for tsunami waves, say you are having a water. So what is the input then? What drives these tsunamis?
The ground motion, sir.
The ground motion only. Where the ground motion is applied?
So below the water.
So below the water, so what happens? Ground motion will not be everywhere. Okay, so there will be a sudden the discontinuity will be there. Okay, so this the ground motion will be there. So how do you apply tsunamis? So for tsunamis, say, what is what discontinuity you will use in Q? So Q contains stress as well as velocity actual. Okay, so if you want to simulate a tsunami, say wave, water waves or something, so the force, whatever force is coming, you have to represent this in terms of velocity discontinuity. Okay, so or if it is a force is acting, so then you have to represent in terms of stress discontinuity. So this way generally in finite volumes, we represent the forces in terms of this discontinuities. Okay, so this is one the most important thing in finite volumes. See, we never encountered this problem in finite element or finite difference or anything because their right hand side was there. Okay, but here, because you are writing in terms of conservation equation, say conservation equation, there is nothing. What is coming out in and what is going out, it should be related to the how much material is present in that cell itself. So because we are solving these type of equations, so we represent the forces through these discontinuities. Okay, this is the most the important thing. So that is how we represent. So force or displacement discontinuity. So QR minus QL. So now here this also you have to write in eigen coordinate system because the Q matrix is coupled kind of a thing. So for this, we write alpha 1 into R1 plus alpha 2 into R2, where R1, R2 are the eigenvectors. That is impedance contrast. We said, right? So you have to write like this. So R alpha is equal to some delta Q, where alpha is equal to R inverse delta Q, where R is nothing but your modal matrix, which is a 2 by 2 we have already derived, right? So you have to, the whole problem has to be broken into eigen coordinate system, not in terms of sigma and V itself. So sometimes what one does is, one can also solve like this, the problem. So we write like this, two matrices, minus C 0, 0, 0, other matrices say, okay, 0, 0, 0. So these are the two eigenvalues. I am separating it into two separate matrices. So one can also write like this. So we have this A plus matrix, say. which is R plus R inverse, and A minus matrix or this one or inverse also. It is something like left going wave or right going wave, something like this interpretation. Okay, so left going wave, just a physical meaning, and right going wave or okay. So we do something, you followed it like that. So we can also define, so A plus into Qy, okay, is right outgoing. So it is nicely given in that textbook also, he has given nicely. So 3 cells. So here it is Qi, this is Qi plus 1, so Qi minus 1. So here there is a discontinuity, okay, some small discontinuity here. So now here there is a little bit, so discontinuity also propagates in the medium. So there is another discontinuity here also, okay. So if you see his A plus, then A minus, like that. So there are this one. So this is delta QL, and this is delta Q right side. Okay. So you can write these the waves this way and this way. He has written nicely. Okay. And these two, and he writes it. So you can have all sorts of combinations. So A plus QI minus 1. Okay, so this is left incoming. This is just a physics only. Okay, so A minus you have, and Qi plus 1. So this is right incoming. And then A minus, and then you see Qi. This is left outgoing. So you will have all waves actually, this side, that side, because you are having a discontinuity. Because in this cell you have some force or maybe some displacement or some velocity has been applied actually. So delta QL say. So this is a Qi minus Qi minus 1. Okay, and then delta QR. So this is Qi plus 1 minus Qi, and finally you will have a contribution from all those things. So you can write Qi n plus 1. Okay, so this you can write as Qi at n dt by dx, and then A plus delta QL plus A minus delta QR actually. So this is my finite volume, the formula, that upwind is Q. That's the first order. Okay, so now so if I take any cell, say, so the future value, that is at n plus 1th time, is a function of of course the existing current value. Then anyway we have this dt by dx is there. Then we have from the left side and from the right side actually. Okay, so the contributions from both the sides have to be used in our calculations. Okay, so this is how you have to do whenever there is a discontinuity inside the medium. So discontinuity can be velocity, or it can even be displacement, or in terms of stresses itself. Okay, it's up to us. So now you can even go for higher order the schemes also, that Lax Van Drop scheme or something. It is also straightforward, but you have to write in terms of all those things. Okay, n minus dt by 2 times dx A into, so Q I plus 1 n minus Q n I minus 1. Of course you have this higher order terms. Okay, so plus half dt by dx is a whole square, and then we have sorry, a square. A square is there, and Qi minus 1 n minus 2 times Qi n. Okay, plus we have Qn I plus 1. Okay, so this is my Lax Van Drop scheme or whatever we have. So this is for the second order thing. So now you can use the first order and second order. Of course, second order will be much more better than this itself. Okay, so now you can see in the Teigel's book, he has given quotes, and then he has solved also. So you can try. And he has used the initial force is some Gaussian function or something he has assumed in a cell, and then he solved through this scheme itself. Okay, so you can try that problem and then try to get his results itself. Okay, and now if it is a heterogeneous case, say, okay, so that means the material properties are different actually. So this cell has row 1 C1, this has row 2 C2, different materials are there. Okay, so then how do we solve? So it's a straightforward. So my A matrix is say, so this will be in each layer I have 1 by row I 0. Okay, so this you have to do it in each element. It is different. Okay, so you have to find out, you see, this one minus Ci is 0, 0, 0. So it is straightforward only. It's not a big deal. And you have these eigenvalues and others. So in each layer volume, say, you have different eigenvectors and eigenvalues. So you can solve. Okay, so so delta QL and so this is Qi minus is Qi minus 1, then delta QR. This is Qi plus 1 minus Qi, and finally say, so you can write Qi n plus 1. So this one will be Qi of n. So the formulation remains the same. So only thing what happens is the A matrix now will have a this I notation will be there. So you can see, so now this is a change. Okay, so previously when it was homogeneous medium, say, so A was the same entire material, so it was very easy. Okay, but now because each properties are changing, so then this also becomes, you see, a function of each cell. So if it is changing, so this also will change. So here also you can find out, as already I told you, right? So when things are going from a weak material to strong material, say, so how much it gets amplified when things are going from strong material to weak material, say, okay, that impedance contrast we said, that is Z. Okay, so that Z comes in our the A matrix, and then that R and other things are there. So that matters a lot actually, whether it will amplify or it will de-amplify kind of a thing. So in a similar fashion, you can extend even to second degree also, second order, like Lax-Van Troff scheme you can do, but everything becomes AI you followed, right? So this you have to be very careful. So AI into this, each layer, they will be different things. Or if you write, nicely that also. So in the Lax-Van Troff scheme, say Qi n plus 1. So this becomes Qi n minus dt by 2 times dx AI. So we have delta times QL plus delta times is it QR plus half. So dt by dx whole square. So AI square. Okay. So multiplied by delta QR minus delta QL. Okay. So this is how you followed, right? So you can solve for any forcing function. So only thing is when you are having any force or whatever, say, so that you have to apply as a discontinuity, and then you have to solve this function. Okay, so mathematically, mathematicians calls whenever there is a discontinuity, say, they call this as Riemann problem kind of a thing. So that's just a mathematical term itself. Okay, so you can solve, so you can find out, you see, many interesting things are there. You can try and you can follow also. Or just one thing we can say. So if it is a heterogeneous case, and if it is a Riemann problem, you can he has given in that book also. You followed it. So del Q. So this is discontinuity. Say you split into eigenvectors. A2 times ZR1 kind of a thing. So you can this discontinuous material properties. Okay. So R LR into A. So this is here delta Q and R LR minus ZL, then ZR 1 kind of a thing you have, and R inverse will be there. And if you try to find out this A, so this becomes R LR inverse into delta Q. So this turns out to be a nice matrix you have. Okay, so this will turns out to be ZR minus ZL by using ZL plus ZR, and then this will be 2 times ZL by ZL plus ZR. Okay, so you get this matrices also, this A matrix. Okay, so this matrix is these are the scalar values here. So this is something like a reflection transmission kind of a thing. Okay, you can also write this as reflection matrix, and this turns out to be, you see, a transmitting matrix itself. So this is the layer 1. So this is one layer, rho 1 C1, and this is second layer, rho 2 C2. So if the wave is coming like this, say, okay, so it will get reflected and it also will get transmitted. So some portion will be reflected. So this is Z2 minus Z1 by, you see, Z1 plus Z2, and the transmitted portion, say, it is 2 times Z1 by, you see, Z1 plus Z2. Okay, so now you can decide how much will be transmitting and then how much it will be reflecting also. Okay, so finally, so what we are trying to say is, so now when a wave is passing from one material to another material, so how much portion it gets transmitted and how much it gets reflected, say, the whole thing is controlled by this Z actually. Okay, and what is Z? No. So we have defined it. Z is nothing but our impedance contrast, which is nothing but the multiplication of density with shear wave velocity. So that's what I told you previously. So impedance contrast, say, it decides actually. Okay, so how much things gets amplified or how much things will get the de-amplified kind of a thing. Okay. So fine. So this way you can work out, and then you can do for 2D, 3D, and all other things. Now when it comes to 2D, say, okay, there is textbooks, as already I told you, not many textbooks are there essentially for wave equations. So for finite volume method, if you see, there is only one textbook is there. Okay, that Levaque, that France person, that textbook is there, but he is a that they do for liquids essentially. So for water waves, there are several textbooks are there in fluid dynamics, say. CFD, there are several textbooks are there on finite volume method. But when it comes to solid mechanics, and then not many textbooks are there, and nobody uses finite volume. Only one or few people are using, but fluid things, everybody uses this finite volume. But in solid, very few are there. So there is only, when it comes to wave propagation, so there is only one paper is there. Okay, so you can go through. I will just show you. So you are able to see this.
Yes, sir.
So this is a paper which is available online. It is published in 2007. Okay, which they have used for solid mechanics. That is our wave propagation problem. Okay, so this is the only, I think, the paper I could find out actually. Okay, maybe one or two maybe there here and there, but this I think they have done for complete 2 dimensions. Okay, so only thing here is, as already I told you, what is that you have to do when you want to do it in complete 3D. No. So the problem is, he has done for viscoelastic also. You remember, right? Viscoelastic means, we have that long back, unelastic functions, we have seen long back itself. Okay, so you have to express and you have to write all those things. So you can see the formulation. See how he has written the equations. See what are these 6 equations? Let us write this also. So that we'll understand. And now if it is in 3 dimensions, say. Now, if you want to do it in 3D, now what are the equations you have to write? As already I told you, you have to use velocity stress formulation only. Or you have to write everything in terms of some, these type of the equations itself. Okay. So now, if you want to write it in velocity stress formulation, say in our continuum mechanics. Okay. So you have, this is my velocity equation. So dou u by dou t. Okay. The stress divergence, right? Dou sigma xx by, dou x plus dou sigma, xy by dou y plus, dou sigma xz, say, by dou z. Okay, So V is a velocity, sorry, U. These are all U, V, W is using. So U, V, W. So these are the, all these stress equations which you would have done in, the solid mechanics. Minus, you see, dou sigma YY by dou plus dou Y plus, I say, dou sigma YZ, say, by dou Z. And then we have the another, dou W by dou T by dou X, plus we have, dou sigma YZ, say, by dou Y, and then you see dou sigma ZZ by dou Z. So these are the fundamental equations, okay? And U, V, W, they are not displacements, they are velocities. If they are displacements, then you will have right hand side the dou square U by dou T square, which is useless actually, okay, if you want to write it in a finite volume method. So everything has to be first order equations. So we have three equations basically in 3D. Now, then another equation will be your constitutive equations. Okay. So the constitutive equations say, so if you want to write for a viscoelastic material, okay. So previously, we have written, right, for viscoelastic materials. How do you represent in finite volume? So if I want to write for a viscoelastic material, you remember long back in finite difference, we have said, so viscoelastic material, how do you write equations of, how do you represent constitutive laws? So for viscoelasticity, how do you represent? In finite difference, so how did we represent? Now, how do you represent for a viscoelastic material? Long back we have said, right?
Anelastic.
Now, anelastic, so you can represent in integral format also, or you can represent in terms of, the differential equation also. So that equations are also, you see, in terms of, the first order of ODEs itself. So you remember this long back we have written. So sigma ij, say, so lambda epsilon, kk delta ij plus 2 mu epsilon ij. So these for elastic material. So for viscoelastic we have additional terms. L is equal to 1 to n. That is Zener solids, you remember all those things we discussed, lambda. So we have y, L lambda. So we had these type of functions, v, k, k, L, delta, ij. Okay, these are all anelastic functions, plus 2 mu, y, L, mu, followed, right? So v, some jj kind of a thing. So these are all anelastic, the functions. Okay. So they all satisfy, some type of a equation. That is also first order equation. So dou by, dou t. So Vj L of t plus, you can see our finite difference, that book, we will have all the terms. WL into, you see, some epsilon j, anelastic functions, was there. Okay. So using those equations, say, so you can represent, the constitutive relations also. I think one equation I will write. Sigma xx. So we have lambda plus 2 mu dou u by dou x minus lambda dou v by dou y minus lambda dou w by dou z. Okay, and you have these anelastic functions also, right hand side. If it is elastic medium, say, so right hand side will be 0. Okay, so some minus lambda yl lambda plus 2 mu y mu l, okay, multiplied by some vlxx. So these are all anelastic functions, minus lambda. So that paper has all the equations. That is for viscoelastic thing. So if it is elastic material, means it easy, the things are little bit easy. So VZZ, L kind of a thing we have. Okay, so if it is elastic material, then right hand sides will be 0 itself. But viscoelastic means you have these functions also. So similarly, you have dou sigma YY by dou T, okay, minus lambda dou U by dou X minus lambda plus 2 mu, okay. So dou v by dou y plus minus the lambda dou w by dou z, and then you have these viscoelastic functions on right hand side. Similarly, say so you have dou sigma zz by dou t, okay, minus lambda so dou u by dou x minus lambda dou v by dou y minus lambda plus 2 mu. So these are all for the normal stresses. And you have the viscoelastic functions also. Now you also will have for the shear stresses also. So dou sigma x y say by dou t minus mu, so dou v by dou x, okay, plus dou u by dou y. Of course, if it is viscoelastic material, you will have some terms on the right hand side. Otherwise, it will be 0. So I will just write one equation. So minus 2 mu y L mu v x y L kind of a thing. Okay. So similarly, you have dou by dou sigma yz by dou t. One term will be there. Then you also will be having dou by dou t sigma xz. So finally, how many equations you have in 3 dimensions? So these are the fundamental 3, okay, that stress equations of equilibrium written in terms of velocity. So these are basically 3 equations are there. Then we have constitutive equations also. So constitutive equations also, we have 3 equations for normal stresses and 3 equations for shear stresses, and all of them are all first order equations, okay, in terms of velocity stress formulation. So total we have 9 equations will be there, okay. But if you have these anelastic functions, say, so then we have extra equations will be there, because apart from these equations also you have to solve for this one. So you have another this first order equation also has to be solved. And if I've included n that Zener bodies or Maxwell, you remember all those things we discussed previously. So then the equations becomes 9 plus 6n, or 6 plus 3 plus 6n actually, okay. So these extra anelastic terms will be there. So this is how you followed, right? So if you want to solve, so the number of equations will be more, and now all these equations say you can club into nicely in this one. So you can write as dou some up by dou t plus some a times pq, so dou uq by dou x plus b times pq dou uq by dou y plus some c pq dou uq by dou z, okay. So this is our fundamental the equation. And of course if you have a right hand side also, because you have this anelastic the coefficients are there, so right hand side you will have some terms, okay. So this is our you can represent a complete 3-dimensional say. You can write the expression in terms of this format, where your u contains, so u of p set. So this contains all the terms, stresses, then velocity, then if you have anelastic functions say, so this also contains. So finally you can write in terms of a conservative equation actual, okay. So this is my conservation of advection equation in 3 dimensions, and it is all first order. So first order with the time, first order with the space, that is x, y as well as z itself. So this you have to solve in finite volume method, okay. So that paper, if you see he has given all these complicated terms. Now if you see, you can see these are the equations he has written. So these are the the stress equations, or the constitutive laws. So 6 are there, then these 3, then these extra equations are for the anelastic function. So if it is elastic medium say, so right hand side for the 6 events will be 0 0 kind of a thing, and it simplifies. Otherwise you are complicating because of these anelastic terms also, okay. So this is how he writes the entire expressions in terms of one single equation, that is in terms of this constitutive law itself. And a, b, c all are the matrices, okay. He has given, you can see a matrix, b matrix, 6 by 6 matrices, or 6 by 9 I think, 6 by 9 matrices. So this is CL, and this is our E matrix. I think E matrix is linked to the anelastic functions. So if it's elastic medium say, so then EPQ will be 0. So you can see 9 by 6 matrix is there, So now the procedure is, you have to first of all, the eigenvalue, eigenvectors you have to find out, and same way, whatever we did previously, say, okay. So you have to do it in the same fashion. But since it is a three-dimensional problem, you will have two velocities. One is, you can see here, this A matrix. Cp will be there, Cs will be there. One is a P wave, that is a longitudinal wave velocity. Then you also will be having, you see, this shear wave, the velocity itself, okay. So then, these are the matrices, and then, he does all the calculations. He goes for, tetrahedron type of volume. So here also volume means you can go for a hexahedral volume, or you can go for a tetrahedral, like in our finite elements, say. So you can do whatever shapes you want, and you have to write the conservation equation for this shape, and then you have to solve here itself. So you can see, so in finite volume set, so all up whatever is there, it is replaced with this integral, the format, and then the solution becomes the straightforward. So it is very easy, but to write a code and then to develop, it takes a huge thing itself, okay, for a complete 3D problem. So you can go through this paper. So he has given triangle, I think 2D also he has done, 3D also he has done, okay. I don't know whether any results he has put up or not. See, boundary conditions absorbing also, free surface also he has done. I think, I don't know, oh, tetra 3D he has given, convergence he has given. Then he would have done some calculations. See, he has done some examples. So he has solved this classic problem, Lamb's problem, okay. So this is a classic problem, Lamb, where you apply load on the surface actually, okay. So he has calculated, this one, and then layer over half space test he has done. So you can see how the, the things comes up. What is this quantity? Anybody can tell us? So you are having two patterns in the U. What is this indicates? The first one is, and here you have a huge, the value here. The first thing you have, two things are there. Why you are having two things here? See, in velocity also you will see. Then in all other things, UV, everywhere you will see these type of things. What are these one? This first figure. Now what does this represent? The first excitation, then it becomes zero. Then you are having a large excitation. What is this? What are these two phases? See how many velocities are there now in 3D. See how many velocities are there in 3D?
3 velocities.
How many? 3. Just see.
Two.
Because what is that? I just told you, right? So how many velocities are there? We have just seen, right, that A matrix, where there are only two. What are those two? P wave and S wave. You followed, right? So the longitudinal wave velocity, where is that? Oh, yes. Okay. See, you have right velocities. See how many velocities are there? You can see this matrix A. So you have two. One is a Cp, other one is Cs. One is a P wave and S wave velocity. Although medium is 3 dimensions, but you are having only two velocities. So now, so what does these two indicate? No. So because it's a 3D problem, so you are having two phases actually. The first one indicates, you have read this small thing in the starting at 0.4, that is nothing but a P wave. Then from 0.6 onwards to 0.8, say, you are having a shear wave kind of a thing. So if it is a one-dimensional problem, say, so then in one-dimensional problem you will have only one wave, like the previous whatever we have seen. So if there is only one wave, say, then you will not see these two phases. There will be only one thing only, you will see that one. So because he has done a 3D, so he has got all this, the interesting result. So he has done. You can see it's completely complicated, this finite volume. Okay, because of the complexity, it's not widely preferred. but some people still use it actually. Okay, so this is the only this is a part A. Then there is another paper also, part B, continuation of this one, this paper. You can download and you can go through this one. Okay, but it is little bit complex, but philosophy is very simple and straightforward compared to all other methods. Just you have to write the equations in a conservative form, and then you just solve them, and they are all first order things. So you replace the things by their integrals, a constant value inside each volume, and the forces, the displacements, you can the forces can be represented in terms of a discontinuity, stress discontinuity, and then you have to find out how much this discontinuity propagates in the medium itself. So this way you can find out these things by finite volume also. Okay, so fine, so I will stop here. So we will continue in our next class. Okay.